Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. We're going to have a look at something a little bit different today. We're on a piece of ground that we rent slash borrow from one of our relatives. And what we're going to do is we actually have beehives on this piece of ground. It's kind of a meadow and cedar evergreens and stuff. Back here there's a pond where they used to pull water out of. But we've got beehives back here. We've got two hives that we thought we lost over the winter, but apparently have activity here. And we've got a couple other hives from last year that didn't make it. So we've got new bees coming. So what we're going to look at is we're going to go through and clean out these hives and get ready for our next set of bees. We've got two more nukes coming in. So we're going to look at those, and then a little bit later we will get into these two hives that made it. So one of the things we've got to clean up is wax moth moved into these. Yes, they did get left all winter, so wax moth moved into these when these hives didn't make it, and a small ant problem because there was honey. So we've got to go through, clean these hives all up, pull the frames out, scrape what wax is off of them, and get the frames re-prepped. So one of the really cool things about honeybees, we've got this box cleaned up. I'm not going to say it's 100% perfect, but the cool thing about honeybees is they are very clean creatures. So they will clean that box up when we put our new nuke in there. They will clean everything up the way they want it. And you can see here, I'll show you the two different frames we run. So this is what has become kind of our standard frame. It's a deep, it's about 8 inches, about 8 inches, I guess. And it's pre-drawn. You can see the comb shape already on there, and that is a plastic. So this dark staining you see is nectar that's been left in there, that's stained, and the wax moths have cleaned all the wax off for us, which is really handy. Those frames just sit in there. There's a lip on the edge of the box they sit on. And then these are our older frames, and they're what they call foundation frames. So they've got really thin wires that run in there, and you make an wax impression with beeswax with that comb shape on it. And it draws this out, only it's made out of very delicate wax, and then the bees pull that out. But it is a very fragile frame, so we are switching to all plastic foundation or plastic inserts in them. We do have an extra set of frames just as we get nukes. Nukes always come with 4 or 5 frames, so we do have extras that are building up. So we've got one more box from this hive to clean, and then the inner lid. Then we've got that hive we've got to deal with. So we've got one hive completely cleaned up, and I'll just show you guys, before we put any bees in, the different parts of our beehives. So down here on the bottom, we call that the bottom board. It does have a screen inside. They're up on cinder blocks and on 4x4, so we get ventilation underneath of it. Pulling cool air under there, the bees can pull cold air up. Up top, we've got our what we call inner lid, and it kind of acts as your ceiling in your house. We've got an upper entrance that we can flip this over in the summertime, and what that does is it forces the bees to use only the bottom entrance. Wintertime, we'll flip that over, and it acts as a ventilation to get moisture out. Sitting outside right now is our queen excluder. That goes on these two boxes on top here. So we call these two deeps our brood boxes. That's where the bees live. We never really pull honey out of there or do anything with it. So that is for the bees. We put that queen excluder on, and what that does is it prevents the queen from climbing up into our honey supers and laying brood in there and laying eggs in there and making them dirty and everything. So right now that's off. As I said, this inner cover comes off. Your queen excluder goes on, and we keep stacking boxes, and that inner cover goes on the very top. And then we run our hives a little bit different. We run a peaked roof, and inside it's got insulation in there, so it acts just like the attic of your house. That goes on top. A little bit harder to do with one hand, they're kind of heavy. And that sits on just like that. So the other thing that's different, we've got one hive here, but these hives are all what we call 8-frame. We have one that we call a 10-frame here. And the reason we do that is we're finding the bees will fill an 8-frame, they'll go right to the outside better than a 10-frame. A 10-frame, they never want to pull the outside 2 frames. So all of our equipment is special built. All of our hives except our 10-frame are cedar boxes. So they don't rot. You can see there's some peeling on a couple of these hives, and what that is fiberglass that we'd put on them when we first built them. These hives are probably 6 years old now. Out in the sun, and the fiberglass is starting to peel off of them. So a couple of these hives that come in and out of rotation, will take them home, clean them up, and either stain them with a polyurethane or reglass them with fiberglass. There is no I guess there is no glass in it, it's just resin, so that it's not structurally sound. It's just kind of seal that wood up. So we haven't decided what we're going to do with that, but we've got 2 hives up and going. We've got to pull those apart, and they've still got their winter insulation boards underneath of them. So what we're going to do in the next couple days here on a cooler night is we've got to treat them with oxalic acid, and what that does is it treats them for mites. So we'll go ahead and get this other hive cleaned up. We'll get our new ones in, and we'll go and treat those and open those hives up so you guys can see those. Hey guys, we're back. It's the next day. We've got our 2 hives cleaned out, and our nuke box is here. We just moved it over out of the back of the truck to where it's going to be. We're just going to let them cool down a little bit. So we're just going to get our smoker started and check our other hives and get that nuke moved in while it cools down. But we use smoke to calm the bees down, and it also confuses them so that they can't communicate with each other to start stinging you. So what I do is I keep a whack of cardboard and newsprint with me, and then a bag of small wood. I also like to use some dried grass, pine cones, and then evergreens, just because they are green. They will smoke longer because they won't burn, they're not dry, and it helps produce a little bit of smoke. This is one of the things I struggle most with in beekeeping, is getting an accurate or a long-lasting smoker going. I'm really good at getting a fire to burn, and that's the problem, is you can get a fire to burn better than you can get one to smolder. And the trick is to not pack it too tight that it goes out, but not pack it too loose that it burns up in a hurry. So I always start it with a bunch of paper and some cardboard, get a good base going, and then I like plywood just because of the different layers. It sometimes smokes a little bit longer and burns. So we put a little bit of that in small pieces. We keep feeding paper into it. So now what we're going to do is, this hive we cleaned out yesterday, we're going to completely take it apart. We're going to take our inner lid off, set it down, gonna take our top brood box, set it down. Then what we're gonna do is we're gonna pull 1, 2, 3, 4. We're gonna pack those frames out there. So what we do with these is it's very important to put this nuke back together the exact same way it comes apart. So we've got our smoker set up, and it's always good to just keep giving that a few puffs. It'll keep it lit. So we cut our tape on here. We're going to open that. You're going to give them a little bit of smoke, and what that does is it drives them onto the frames and just keeps them calm. Then what we're going to do is we're going to pry our outside one out and lift it up very gently. There you can see they haven't built any wax on that yet. And they're only packed on the one side, so it is a smaller nuke. And we're going to put that in. It's on my left, so we're going to lay that in there. We're going to pry the second one out. And the reason we do this is we're trying not to roll that queen. And when I say roll, when you lift these frames up and they're packed full of bees, your bees will roll. There you can see our queen. She's marked with a green dot, moving around very slowly. She's got a good brood pattern. She's got lots of room. She's got capped brood on this side. So now that we know where she is, we're going to put her down, give her lots of space when we put her in, and then we will gently slide that frame over to where it was. Now that we know we don't have to worry about her, we can inspect these other frames. They've got a lot of brood, capped brood there. You can see it's all capped. She's got larvae started. So this hive's ready to explode the next 7 days when that capped brood hatches out. And we'll put that in there. Then what we'll do is we'll put our inner lid back on like that, and we'll put our roof back on. So the reason we're only putting one brood box in is I don't want those bees to get too much room and freeze. Our nights are still getting cold here. Then what we'll do is we're just going to pack in 4 frames into this nuke box that we pulled out. Then we'll keep that nuke box, we'll put it in the shelves. And what we'll use this for is when we split a hive, we'll put it into that nuke box. So we're going to go ahead and open up this hive. As I said, I thought this frame, or these hives had died out over the winter. So I don't know what to expect when we go inside of them. So far we've got bees. These guys did get left with a honey super for the year, which is on top. You can see our queen excluders here. That's a honey super. And I've got bees packed all the way up into it. So I'm going to set you down and we'll have a look at what's inside here. So we'll go ahead and look in here. So we're going to pry our top lid off. The key is to go slow with this. Bees don't like sudden movements, and they use their propolis and everything to glue these frames all together. So if you snap them open, it is a jarring motion. So they've got a lot of comb built up on the inside here. I don't normally like to see that because it means they are full and out of room, but it also makes it messy. So this honey super was full last fall. And it's glued onto there so well. what I like to do is we're not going to look at this honey super because I can tell by picking it up it's fairly full. We're just going to set it on our skid out of the way. Our queen excluder is getting dirty, which means they're out of room. So, and this is where the snapping will take place. So you drive a little bit of smoke onto them. See there, it snapped. You can see them getting antsy with me that I've snapped them. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to pick a frame, kind of wiggle it back and forth a little bit. And we're going to put our tool down. And we're going to see if we can pry a frame up gently on both ends. We're going to pull this frame out pretty slow. So what I'm looking for here, look at that beautiful brood pattern she's got. So this queen is well at work. She's got a really nice brood pattern. They've got pollen stuffed in a lot. So we're going to set this down behind our hive. And I just want to pull one more out, and then what we're going to do is we're going to clean the hive all up on the bottom. So what we do is we'll tip the boxes up. I don't want to disturb them. Really all I'm checking for at this point is if I have a laying queen in here, which we do, and how much brood she's got. The next thing we're gonna start looking for is, oh, she's got those glued down, is we're gonna look for queen cells, which will tell me if they're out of room or not. It'll also indicate if this hive can be split, which I'm hoping it can. It'll give us another hive for the season. There we go. That broke out from the bottom. So we pull that out. You can see they've clustered this with drone cell. She's got brood there. She's got room to keep laying. And they are laying a lot of drones, which tells me that she is ready to swarm. We're just going to pull one more out to see what she's done in here. This side's fairly empty. I'm just wondering how much room she has. And the trick to bees, everybody, I wear gloves. Just, I've been stung on the fingers enough time. It is unpleasant. Your hand swells up for 2 days and it hurts the whole time. Getting stung doesn't bother me. It's actually the after effects of being stung that I'm annoyed with. But if you're calm and collect with your bees and slow movements, they actually don't really care. We're in here in the middle of the day. It's warm, it's sunny. They don't really care that I'm in here working with them. Now if I drop a frame or something, so this one they've packed mostly nectar into it, some propolis or some pollen, so they're using this to store for themselves. Looks like they're using the next one on the outside as well. So there is the chance too, bees are really bad at, I guess you could say, moving down. So they go up really easy. It's natural to them to want to go up in a hive. Going down comes poorly to them. So a lot of times what we'll do with a hive that has survived winter is we will pick these brood boxes up and we will swap them top for bottom. And what that does is wherever the queen is, it forces her to go back up, or assuming that these top boxes are too full, that she's working the top, it'll put her at the bottom, bringing her back up. It'll just rotate them through a little bit better. So now what we're going to do is we're going to pick this box up, slide it out, smoke them and drive them up, and we'll scrape the bottom looking for drone or queen cells. So it's imperative at this stage you've got a good smoker going, and I'll be honest with you, I've had to relight this thing twice already in the process of doing 2 hives. I told you I was bad at it. So these things are heavy. It's probably as close to 100 pounds. And I've stirred them up. Dropping that. And what I'm running into is these girls have glued the frames together in there. So when I pry this box up, I'm pulling frames with it. Which makes it a very tough pull. Actually, it makes it an impossible pull. There we go. So we've disturbed a frame, which I'm not real pleased with, but we're going to smoke them out, driving them up and down, just to get them out of our hair. And then we're going to set the smoker here so that it kind of keeps them at bay. They've got a lot of cells started, but they don't have any capped, which is a good and a bad thing for me. So what we do now is we're going to come in, and this is all I do with beekeeping, is I come in with my hive tool and I scrape the bottoms of their frames, stop them from gluing them together, and then stop them from swarming all of these capped cells along the side. I just go on an angle and knock them all off. And what that does is kind of slows them down for a week until they build up new. This time of year now we'll check these every 7 days, depending on the weather too. If we see bad weather coming, we'll check them sooner just to stay ahead of the girls. We just go down with the hive tool, and this is, you can see all that drone larva. They'll clean that all out. They, as I said, bees are a clean animal, so they'll clean all that up. It doesn't bother them. It's not hurting anything. This wax has been there for a while because it is pretty stiff. So, as I said, we check these in the wintertime or late fall. and they looked abandoned then, so we never dealt with them in the wintertime. So this wax is probably 5 months old. So we'll go in, we'll grab all that stuff we scraped off, and what we do is a lot of that we do save and we'll melt down for our beeswax when we render. So now that we've got them stirred up good, it's always fun. We come down easy, and we just set them aside, and I'll show you what that smoke does. So we smoked them from the bottom up, and look at how they've packed the top of that box now. And it's because we smoked them from the bottom up. So now what we'll do is we gotta pry this bottom box off. It won't be as bad just because there's nothing to stick to on the bottom. But we wiggle it back on its frame, we'll stand it up, and we'll smoke them off the bottom. You see, they're nice and clean on the bottom. They haven't done anything down here. So they're nice and clean there, but what concerns me is that they're so clean. So, and now we'll drive them back down. We'll drive them all down with smoke. We'll clean these frames off, and you can see there's a frenzy in the yard now. And I've disturbed the hive, I broke them open and angered them. So we're gonna do that with some smoke. We're gonna go in with a hive tool. I can already tell that I'm not happy with what they're doing. Well, not that I'm not happy, but they've confirmed what I want to do to them, of swapping their boxes. They've got the room, they're just bad managers. You can hear that hive getting louder. But when I pull this out, see how there's not a ton of brood on here? So the queen hasn't been down in this hive utilizing her room. So we're going to pull some more frames and then we'll swap these boxes. So now remember I told you bees are really bad at going down, or going down rather than coming up. The other trick to this is bees only build wax aggressively in the spring. So one of those boxes we cleaned out yesterday of frames that didn't have any wax on it, if we put that in this new hive, or in this hive that made it, with bees that are looking for room, what'll happen is those bees will build wax out here because they know they've got room now. They've got the population because we've got lots of brood hatching, we've got lots of bees already. So the trick with it is now is we will put their honey super on top of this spare brood box. The reason we're doing that is those bees know that honey's up there. They're well aware they've got this honey here. There's bees up here. So what they will do is, especially if we flip their entrance over and they can't utilize that entrance, we gotta knock the wax out of here so that they will go down like they should. But we're gonna flip that upper lid over, and now those bees know that honey's up there and they've got a space in the middle. They will start building wax into that brood box for us for our next hive when we go to split it. So you can see this is kind of the disturbance we get. They're bearded out on the front. They're fanning the hive. They think they're under attack of the ones that were there. The new ones coming back don't really understand what's happening. And that's what we'll do with that hive to keep them moving there. So we're going to use these bees to build up our other hives. So now we got to go ahead and check this double stack here And what that was from last year, we had 2 hives. One went queenless, one still had a queen. So the queenless one, we put them on top with the queen hive on the bottom. And what that did, we put newspaper in between. So what that essentially did is tricked our bees into thinking they had a queen, and as they ate the newspaper in between, it combined the hive. So it was kind of a trick late season. This hive was located at our home farm, hence why it's ratchet strapped. That's why they were all on skids, is so we could pick them up with the skid steer and move them. Again, thought these guys were dead, didn't make it, so I don't know really what I'm walking into with these girls here. So we're gonna smoke them out in the bottom. Get our smoker horn back up here. Take our lid off. And we've got bees up into the top here. How many? I don't know. Bees are bad at exploring, I find. So we set our upper lid down, upside down, and that's where we'll start piling all this stuff. So coming up here, as I said, these are brood boxes. I don't really want them in this. I would like to reduce this back down and either get them out of it or utilize what they've done. So let's have a look. So they've got honey in here all the way up, which is a good thing. Honey's good. We won't eat any of this just because it has had brood in it, and it's, well, not dirty honey, but it's dirty. The brood makes it a darker color. The wax is nastier. So what I'm thinking of doing is, since there's no brood up here, that tells me the queen hasn't been up here. I can shake these bees out of this, pull some of these drawn frames of honey away from these guys, depending on how much they have. Like that frame's half full, some pollen. I don't think she's in it, but we'll sweep her back, sweep everybody off. Lots of drones. We'll sweep them off, and what we'll end up doing is that'll start us on a good hive, and we'll put a honey or queen excluder in one of these boxes so that she can't get into it, but they can draw wax and utilize it. And same thing, we're going to trick these bees into pulling wax for us. So she has been up here. There's drone cells laid on the bottom there. So she's been up there at some point. There's lots of honey, so I think what we're going to do, step one, is we'll crack this box off. And I can tell it's heavy with honey. We'll set it on our upper. I always twist them so I can get my foot back on it. What we'll do, we're going to put these frames back in. We're not going to worry about it for right now. The only thing we are going to do is we are going to pull one away for that nuke. So we're going to do that right now. What I do is you just go up and you dump them off. So now we'll go over. So we went over, pulled a frame. We'll put an extra empty frame back into this hive. Pack everything back in normally. They'll never know they lost one frame. We'll pack that one back in. Leave it alone for now. Now what we do, they're not really dirty. So they haven't spent a lot of time up here. And they're not out of room. They don't think they're out of room. They haven't been building burr comb all over the place. she's been up here. She's got drones and she's got capped brood. So I don't know if you guys can see, but if you look right here and here, we've got new baby bees coming out. They're just working their way out, chewing that wax capping off. There's 3 of them there just coming out. And there's another one up here coming out. She's kind of got a sporadic pattern going. By that I mean she's laying in groups about that big and moving. She's not laying an entire frame. And it could be just how the frames were in here, of how much room there was. But I do know that we are going to have to condense these guys down. They can't have 4 brood boxes. That's way too many for them. And they're going to have to tighten up. So what we'll do, I don't spend a lot of time looking for my queens, right, wrong, or indifferent. What I'll do is we will separate this into the 2 boxes. We'll leave an upper entrance in it. We'll put a queen excluder in between. And then in about 4 days, after a lot of that brood is hatched out, I'll come back and I'll check on, see, here's a better pattern. So I think she's just got so much room, she's getting confused on where she's going. Because that's a really nice frame she's pulled. And the one beside it's just as nice. I'll show you that. That's kind of picture perfect. I really like seeing this. This is my favorite thing next to full drawn capped honey. That's an impressive sight to see too, but this is probably one of my favorite. Oh, and she's got her glued in. You kind of wiggle and pull, but not too aggressive. She's got that completely capped all the way, all nice and even. This side, not as good, but she's got a lot in there. So you can just see, and on the frame here is all complete drone, which is something different to see, and that generally happens on the outside because the bees aren't as concerned with it, I find, or they have more space. That's complete drone. So now what I'm looking for, like that entire frame is drones, which is wild. They could be getting ready to swarm. They could be ready to split. Splitting would be an okay option right now. They've got lots of brood. But as I was saying, if I can't find her, I don't spend a lot of time. There's 4 boxes to look through and probably 2 million bees. I don't know. Somebody tell me how many bees are in a beehive. I dare you count them all. We'll put the queen excluder in. I'll come back in about 4 days, check it. And she is wherever the brood is. They will stay close to her. She'll keep laying brood and capping it. And then wherever there isn't any capped brood or laid brood, that's where she wasn't. So then we can separate those frames out of the hive. So it's the cheap and dirty way, cheap and easy way, I don't know, however you want to look at that, of how we were going to do this. But I am going to have to go get more smoke before we continue. Shocking. So I'm just down into the bottom box here, and on this frame I did find the queen. So she is in the bottom box, which is good because they've got the bottom boxes almost empty. As far as resources, honey, everything, there's not a lot down there. This box is a little bit heavier, but that bottom box, they haven't done much. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna pack these 2 boxes on here, and we're gonna pull one of our. So what we did, we put another brood box on them. We're going to put an inner lid on them. And they can start redrawing wax again. That said, this gives them... So I just wrapped up, my camera died on me, so I had to put it on the charger. This big hive, we took 2 boxes away from it with eggs in it and put a split on, put a queen excluder, and put a big brood box on for them to pull honey in, or pull wax onto. This second one here, the left-hand side, they've got a honey super on top and an empty brood box with a queen excluder to pull wax for me. We've got our new split with our 2 deeps that come off of that far hive. And then, sorry, I got 2 bees. Decided that I'm their worst enemy. So, and then we've got our new nuke. So, thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time, and I hope you enjoyed this, something different. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.